Julius Robert Oppenheimer was born on April 22, 1904, in New York to a well-to-do family. His father was Julius Oppenheimer, a German immigrant who had made his fortune in the textiles business, and his mother was Ella Friedman, a well-known painter. His brother, Frank, was also a famous physicist. From an early age, he excelled in the subjects of physics, chemistry, and in particular, mineralogy. At the age of 12, after years of correspondence, the New York Mineralogy Club actually invited Oppenheimer to deliver a lecture, not realizing he was barely a teenager. In 1921, he graduated as valedictorian of his high school, after which he enrolled as a student at Harvard University. Here, he studied a breathtakingly wide array of topics, ranging from mathematics and science, all the way to Eastern religion and French and English literature. However, it was an undergraduate course on thermodynamics, taught by Percy Bridgman, Higgins University professor of physics, that ignited a lifelong passion for experimental physics. At Harvard, he graduated summa cum laude in 1925, before moving across the Atlantic to Cambridge University's Cavendish Laboratory to become the research assistant to J.J. Thomson, who is credited with the discovery of the electron. Quickly tiring of routine laboratory work, Oppenheimer then went to the University of Göttingen to study the emerging field of quantum mechanics. In 1927, in collaboration with esteemed physicist Max Born, he made his first major scientific breakthrough with the Born-Oppenheimer approximation, a framework for understanding the structure of molecules. Now a rising star, over the next few years, Oppenheimer developed his theories at prestigious laboratories such as the University of Zurich and the University of Leiden in the Netherlands, where Albert Einstein himself had once been a lecturer. By 1929, he was teaching some of the most talented physics students in the world at the California Institute of Technology and the University of California at Berkeley. It was during the 1930s, following the rise of Hitler and global fascism, that Oppenheimer first became interested in politics. He soon became a virulently anti-fascist, with many of his contemporaries suspecting that he held pro-communist sympathies. At the outbreak of the Spanish Civil War in 1936, he announced his support for the communist-aligned Republican cause. And in 1937, after his father died, he used his enormous inheritance to financially support anti-fascist organizations. However, when he discovered that Stalin was imprisoning and murdering Russian scientists and other intellectuals, he severed all ties with communism. Although his flirtation with the ideology was brief, it would come back to bite him in later life. In this period, Oppenheimer's personal affairs were also a little turbulent. In 1939, he started an affair with Catherine Pewing, a graduate student in botany at the University of California. By 1940, she had divorced her husband and the couple were married, with their first child Peter born in 1941. It was also in the late 1930s that Oppenheimer would conduct early nuclear experiments. Following Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939, legendary physicists Albert Einstein, Leo Szilard, and Eugene Wigner warned the US government of the danger to humanity if the Nazis were to develop a nuclear bomb first. In response, Oppenheimer began investigating how to separate uranium-235 from natural uranium. He also sought to determine the critical mass of uranium needed to make a nuclear bomb. Ignoring his past pro-communist learnings, in August 1942, Oppenheimer was chosen as the scientific director of the Manhattan Project, a top-secret collaboration of American and British physicists tasked with harnessing nuclear energy for military purposes. In 1943, a flat plain in Alamos, New Mexico, was selected as the test site. Although Oppenheimer had little experience managing a project so big, he quickly learnt the ropes, and soon his team of just 100 had grown to several thousand. On July 16, 1945, from a control bunker, he witnessed the first ever atomic explosion. Upon seeing the blinding flash of the Trinity test, he is reported to have rather laconically said, "I guess it worked." It was only later on that he revealed that the more eloquent words of an ancient Indian text, the Bhagavad Gita, had come to mind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
True to his word, on August 6, 1945, a nuclear bomb was dropped on the Japanese city of Hiroshima, killing 70,000 people instantly. This was followed by the nuking of Nagasaki on August 9th and the immediate deaths of 40,000 people. In total, over 200,000 lost their lives, with many succumbing to their injuries or radiation poisoning in the aftermath. Oppenheimer was particularly horrified that the weapon had been deployed again on Nagasaki, following the annihilation of Hiroshima. In its wake, he stormed into President Truman's office, telling the commander-in-chief that there was blood on his hands. Truman dismissed him, stating that he never wanted to see him again in the Oval Office. In 1947, Oppenheimer was appointed as head of the Institute for Advanced Studies, serving as the chairman of the General Advisory Committee of the Atomic Energy Commission. In October 1949, he controversially opposed the development of the hydrogen bomb, which was 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb. In the 1950s, Oppenheimer's objections to the hydrogen bomb landed him in hot water with the US government, who were purging their institutions of alleged Soviet spies. His comments led many to suspect that he still harbored pro-communist views. On December 21, 1953, after a lengthy security hearing, he was informed that he could no longer be trusted with military secrets, and as a result, his classified security clearance was revoked. For the remainder of his life, Oppenheimer dedicated himself to improving the general public's understanding of science, authoring several popular essays and delivering a series of lectures for the BBC entitled Science and the Common Understanding. In April 1962, to make amends for his ill treatment during the 1950s, President John F. Kennedy invited him to dinner at the White House, while in 1963, he was accoladed with the Fermi Award, the highest honor given by the Atomic Energy Commission. His public reputation somewhat restored, Robert Oppenheimer, the self-professed destroyer of worlds, died of throat cancer on February 18, 1967.